In almost every sense of the word, it's a typical farm in the Australian bush. What, of course, sets it apart are the people. You come here and you find that they're living in a culture that's almost 5,000 years old. A farm in the Australian bush where the sights and sounds can be anything but Australian. This is New Govardhana, northern New South Wales and Queensland headquarters for the Hare Krishnas, followers of an ancient Indian religion and culture. A farm they plan to turn into a self-contained, self-sufficient community of 200. Their showcase for a lifestyle and philosophy brought to Australia little more than a decade ago.
In the beginning, people were a little bit wary, a little bit suspicious. Anything new, I suppose, anyone would be a little suspicious.
The Hare Krishnas plan to spend $5.5 million to develop their Murwillumbah farm, with a temple, museum, restaurant, single and married quarters, a primary and secondary school. A village which, while it is self-contained, is open to the outside world.
I think generally now there's a great acceptance of the Hare Krishna movement. We get thousands and thousands of visitors coming through here.
You have in fact become a tourist attraction, haven't you?
We have, yeah.
The Hare Krishnas appear well aware of the curiosity and outright suspicion of outsiders. One reason why tomorrow they'll spend an estimated $500,000 to insert a lavishly illustrated 16-page colour brochure in every major Australian newspaper. A brochure which heavily promotes life down on the farm. How did you go about choosing the artwork for it? You've got pictures of kids, which are always appealing. Pictures of life on the farm, that's appealing too. Is that the attention grabber?
Well, it's a very dynamic part of our activities, and we always find that people are impressed with the purity of our kids, and there's a sort of wholesome freshness that they have. And that really comes out in the atmosphere of the farm.
When the Hare Krishnas first moved here 5.5 years ago, there were only 6 of them on the farm. Now there's a population of around 80 adults here and as many children. Plus that, there are other families that are living in the district because there just simply isn't enough accommodation yet on the farm to contain all of the Hare Krishna community. Life as a Hare Krishna is strictly disciplined for both adults and children. They're out of bed at 3:30 in the morning, at prayer by 4:30. School operates 6 days a week.
I work at the cow shed. Like normal schools, you work till 3 o'clock, and you get off and you run home and you watch TV. All afternoon you watch TV.
You used to do that, did you?
Yeah. Well, now all you do, you go to school, go down, you have lunch, then I go working off at the cow shed.
Bala, what does Bala mean? Strength. Strength. Strong, yes.
Like any other private school, this one receives a government grant and must teach the basic state curriculum. But lessons include a foreign language and alphabet, Sanskrit, the ancient Indian language of the Vedic scriptures on which the Hare Krishna life is based. You do have the basic curriculum of any other school in New South Wales, but what do you add on top of that?
Well, like I said, we teach all the standard disciplines, but over and above that, we teach the children to be clean, compassionate, truthful, merciful, unalloyed in their love for God. We teach them all these sorts of things, which we feel are lacking, sadly, in most other conventional educational institutions.
Now, what sort of student will you turn out at the end of that? Would that be somebody, if he didn't want to stay, or he or she didn't want to stay in the community, could go outside and do a normal job? They would know enough to be able to survive in the outside world?
Most definitely. This is a common question. How will your kids cope as a result of all this kind of conditioning? But our children will be academically achieved. They will be decorated with all good qualities, and over above that they'll be firmly fixed in a blissful spiritual consciousness which will enable them to handle any situation.
Only time will tell how well the Krishna kids can survive in the outside world should they choose to venture away from this piece of ancient Indian culture transplanted in the land down under. They're brought up in a community which shuns what to us are everyday things such as radio, TV and newspapers. But a community skilled in the ways of Western capitalism, with financial backing to confidently plan a multi-million-dollar project such as this.
We do have lots and lots of different businesses, like a handicraft business and a perfume business and clothes business. We import things from overseas and wholesale them here in Australia, and also retail. And we have...
It is, in fact, a very successful business corporation, isn't it? A multi-million-dollar organisation.
Well, you know, we are a large organisation now. It's a fact. We have lots and lots of centres all over Australia. So all the profits that come from those businesses comes to the temples for its different propaganda work.
The business talent behind the scenes is a largely unknown side of the Hare Krishna movement. The colour brochure to be inserted in tomorrow's newspapers is the result of months of planning by sect members who include the creative director of one of Australia's largest advertising agencies. They have their own building designers, even a public relations man to handle media contacts. Despite that, they remain somewhat of a mystery, following a culture alien to the average Australian, a discipline which has produced what must be amongst the most conservative lifestyles in the world.
We're vegetarians, there's no meat. Nor there's any intoxication. We don't take any drugs of any type, or we don't even have coffee or tea. We don't gamble, and we... What's the other one?
There's no illicit sex on all that?
Right, yeah, that's the first thing you mentioned. There's no illicit sex at all. We only have sex for procreation of children.
A decade ago, there were only a few of them chanting on the streets. Today, they number their followers in the thousands and claim to be the fastest growing religious sect in Australia. We're told that we're becoming a multicultural society. So maybe it's not all that unusual that there are those amongst us who, like the Hare Krishnas, choose to march to the beat of a different drum.
Nine major newspapers, you will find a full-colour supplement about the Hare Krishna religion. The Hare Krishnas are spending over $500,000 to promote what they see as a better spiritual value for our society, and also to inspire a wider community interest in religion in general. Now, with us this morning from the Hare Krishna Centre in Sydney is Brian Salter with two students from the Hare Krishna School at Wollongbar in Queensland. Good morning, Brian Salter.
Good morning, Jan.
And let me introduce Tulsi and Ayodhya. Did I get that right?
Ayodhya.
Ayodhya.
Pretty close.
So the kids, you're down from Wollongbar.
Yes.
Now, Brian, first I should start with you. This is quite an elaborate campaign. You're spending over $90 million. Here's the supplement here, a very, very expensive supplement. Where is the money coming from?
Well, the actual supplement cost a little over $300,000, which was quite inexpensive, really. It was all produced and done by devotees, and the funds were raised from our congregational members throughout Australia. They sort of felt it was about time that their fellow Australians knew a little bit about their beliefs and practices and just sort of how far the Hare Krishna movement has come. So it was sort of a combined effort, you might say, from all of the devotees throughout Australia.
What, as far as work, do your devotees do?
We have a book publishing trust by which we publish books. I just brought a couple along. In fact, in the insert, viewers at home who have a magazine will be able to clip out a coupon and get some of these books. These are books on reincarnation and our philosophy. So that's our main business, is to produce books and distribute them. But we have you know, other sort of businesses as well, and
you have people from all walks of life.
Yes,
I noticed
yes.
in the supplement you've got Henry Ford's great-grandson in there somewhere.
Yes, he's
obviously a very, very wealthy man. Now, does that conflict with your religion at all, having somebody as wealthy as that?
Not really, because our philosophy is that whatever someone has by way of wealth or ability or whatever is given to them by God and should be used in the service of God. So if someone is wealthy, he can use his wealth to spread Krishna consciousness. If someone's an artist, he can paint pictures and so on. So it doesn't conflict at all. We believe that whatever you have, use it for God's service.
Well, kids, you, as I mentioned, come from Wollongbar. How long have you been involved in the Hare Krishna movement? Ever since you can remember?
I've been involved for 5 years now, almost.
And what are the differences that you find? You're almost 11.
Yes.
And what are the differences? Do you remember what it was like when, you know, I assume your mum and dad in the Hare Krishna movement?
Yes. They're both school teachers.
At Wollongbar?
Yes.
Now, what, did you go to a normal school before that?
Yes, I did go to a normal school for 1 year before I joined.
Now, what do you learn at the school in Wollongbar?
We learn everything that's necessary, everything the same as normal schools, but Krishna is added into every subject.
Now, Ayodhya.
Ayodhya.
So, what are your favourite subjects? When you're at school, do you do math and do you do English?
Yeah. Well, my favourite subject is I like maths and geography.
Mm-hmm. What about mixing with other kids that go to normal schools? Do they ever review about having your head shaved?
Not really.
You never have any problems with running into boys in the street?
No.
What do you think the philosophy behind or the idea of the Hare Krishna religion is? What does it mean to you?
It means a lot of things, like it's good and healthy.
And what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'll be a farmer.
A farmer. What about you, Tulsi?
I like to do a lot of things. I'd like to help do deity worship, looking after Krishna in the
What is deity worship?
It's to dress the deity of Krishna. In Sydney we've got just little Gauranga deities, but at Moolumba we've got big Radha Krishna deities, big Gauranga and big Krishna Balaram. I'd like to help look after them.
Do you ever feel different from other kids when you meet them in the street?
Not really. I feel luckier than them. I feel that I've got a lot more.
What does the paint symbolise?
It shows that we're the devotees of Krishna.
And you're very happy up in Moolumba? I mean, you wouldn't like to move to a city or down to Brisbane? Or?
No, not really.
Terrific. Well, Ayodhya and Tulsi and Brian, when you're spending over $1 million a year, as you said, one of your major businesses is printing, what's the next step you're going to do to try and, I assume, try and invite more people into your religion?
Oh yes, and also we would like to establish for people who are interested in our religion that they can perform their Krishna consciousness at home. We've just produced a lavish encyclopedia, in fact, of 50 books by which people can have a whole range of philosophy in their homes and worship Krishna in their home. And so we'll be promoting that a lot more, I think, over the years to come.
Great. Well, thanks very much for coming in to explain all that to us.
It's a pleasure.
Terrific. Brian Salter from the Hare Krishna Centre in Sydney. And on Good Morning Australia, we'll be back after this.